Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm back with another Steam journal entry. Um, I'm actually a little bit more awake. I did another recording just before this, but the video and audio in some parts of the journal was distorted. So it was something that I'm trying to avoid. So I am also dedicating the next few sort of like video recordings for it's both for sharing content, video logs, but at the same time an opportunity to tweak my audio and video settings because the last few videos the common uh, trend is that I keep experiencing distortion. It is not like major, but it's just those split moments, split second distortions that can affect, like distorting just one or two words that I was trying to say. So not exactly helpful. So anyway, I managed to get some coffee into me, so I'm a little bit more like I'm more clear of what I want to say. So hopefully there will be less stuttering this time. So a couple of things I want to cover today. I'm excited that finally, after a long time, I'm able to make use of my Thronmax. What do you say? MDrill One Pro microphone. So it has the ability to, for the audio pickup, the sampling rate. It can it can capture 48 kilohertz and at 16 bit. Okay, so I'm not expert in this area, so I would probably have to do a little bit of research into what that means. But I do know that it's actually pretty good, yeah, at least on paper. So yeah, what does that mean for me as a content creator? I guess that's something that I can go and find out. It'll be good for personal knowledge, general knowledge. So anyway, I'm just grateful that this really long journey that I've been on to become a Steam content creator has led me to this point, where I can say that, for a very long time I always felt like I needed this and that to be able to get started, and for a very long time it has felt that way. And now that I actually have what I have today, I feel like it's actually the best time to just get started. Now, I used to do professional training content in the past. Is how I discovered that I'm actually quite good in creating video contents, um, and I sort of discovered that I have a talent for it. So back then, I was working for a company. So the company was the one that paid for the setup, all the hardware. So clearly back then, I'm not the one paying it out of my own pocket. So I never had any issues with the setup itself. But now that I'm creating my own setup, I have to invest in different pieces of hardware over time. And because, I don't earn as much at the moment, so I have to be very aware of my expenses. Um, but I'm grateful. I am grateful that when the pandemic started last year, it was fairly quick that I actually managed to get a job, find a job. And even though the job doesn't pay much, honestly, but it's still income. It's still stable income for the past year, and I continue to be very grateful for it. I am looking forward to a brand new opportunity. Nothing's confirmed yet, but I don't feel comfortable going into it at this point. But um, I mean I did share the news with a few people that are in my circle of influence, close people, but I haven't shared it publicly. So, but yeah, I mean, when things are more solidified, I will share more. So anyway, yeah, so I'm glad that I finally got things set up. So it's been a slow progress. That's how I would describe it. Slow but steady. Yeah, kind of the central theme of my whole entire journey so far. Slow and steady. So for a long time, you know, as a STEAM enthusiast, as somebody who loves electronics, IoT, robotics, and so on, I've always felt, especially the last couple of years, because financially it's been quite unstable for me. So being financially unstable, it's really hard to get things that I would love to have, to tinker with, to play with, to explore. I mean, if you don't have a consistent income, it's really hard to plan ahead. So for a very long time, I was in this mode of like constant envy. When I say constant envy, I mean when I see other enthusiasts in the community, the makers community, when they are looking at a new hardware, like for example, the Arduino Nano 33 Sense BLE. So it's a board. It's a board with sensors on it. When it first came out, I was quite envious of others who were able to get their hands on it, and I couldn't. But to each their own journey. I'm glad that I'm finally able to get it for myself. So I have been consolidating a lot of the hardware that I have. So here's the thing, you know, for quite a while, because I feel like I didn't have the things I needed to really get started or to get into it, to get into as in generally. Um, there were a lot of pieces of hardware that I've bought in the past that were just sitting in my cupboard on the shelf or in my toolbox, which is quite unfortunate. So in recent years, I've developed this guiding principle in my life where, you know, if there's a piece of hardware, for me, hardware is something that I really cherish a lot now. I have a lot of appreciation for whatever hardware I have, whatever pieces of hardware that I bought or paid for. If it's sitting on a shelf somewhere in my room and it's not being used to its fullest potential or to the fullest extent, I would think that I would see it as a waste of money, and I don't like that feeling. So, as much as possible now, being able to finally get started, to get into it, as I like to say, I find that yes, finally there is no excuse not to make the most of what I have. So I did get the BLE Sense, which is great. So I am. Oh, sorry, it was upside down. So I'm definitely gonna get into this. You know, like soon. And then recently, I managed to get my hands on the Arduino MK 1500. It's for the NB-IoT capability. So yeah, got some additional sensors for the Jetson Nano. So in recent months, I've managed to acquire quite a bit of new hardware. Nothing big, nothing major. Most things that everybody else already talked about before. But I got it because I feel that from a content creation perspective, I have this ability to um, bring out a different aspect of the products that I talk about. It's not so much about the product information, although it's easy to read from product sheet, or to read from the website. A lot of people can do that. So personally, I want to focus on the product experience itself. So there are a number of things that I'm really happy right now. I'm very thankful for. Like I recently managed to get, finally, at least this month, I managed to get the 80A LP 2000, the analog touch sleeve. So 3 years ago, when I first got my hands on the analog, if you can see, when I first got my hands on the analog Discovery 2 and the digital Discovery, it was at a time when, as an enthusiast, I really wanted to dive into the theoretical aspects of electrical engineering or electronics. I don't have a electrical engineering degree. I did not study that when I was in Polytechnic either. But as a nerd and somebody who has a passion for learning, like literally anything that is within the STEAM spectrum, I want to learn. I've bought a lot of textbooks over the years, ranging from biology, biochemistry, genetics, virology, to everything in engineering, almost everything in engineering, system architecture in terms of tech, a lot of things, wireless technology. So I have really invested a lot of money in all these different books. So over the years, from science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and arts, it's always been deeply rooted in who I am. So that's why I have this passion for STEAM. So now that I have this, all of this. So anyway, sorry for digressing. So when it comes to the analog Discovery 2, I felt that at the time, being financially unstable, I realized that to get that full product experience, I needed to buy this and that item, and when you need to add all these different things together in order to get that full experience, and it was quite costly at the time. So I mean, if I was earning as much as what I used to make, in my last full-time job, I probably wouldn't have to think so much. I probably wouldn't think so much. But because the last couple of years haven't been easy, it has made me even more aware of my expenses, how I'm spending my money, how I'm using it. So I'm very, very careful about my expenditure these days. I think it's important to be wise as well. So that there is that. So yeah, I mean, even though I won't say that it's a waste of money, I'll just say that the fact that I already have it and it's there on my cupboard and in my shelf, I really want to find a way to make the most of what I already have. And of course, I've recently entered into a brand collaboration with another, I would say, test measurement company, a company that creates test measurement tools. They will be announcing a new product soon. It's liquid instruments. So I won't reveal what the collaboration is because they will be announcing officially the launch of the product later this month. So I will talk about that when the time comes. But yes, I am actually receiving a product from them to review, and eventually I want to do a product to product, brand to brand comparison between the analog discovery tool and this new brand of product that I will be evaluating. So I come from obviously a very different perspective. I'm not an educator, so I can't talk about the product experience from being an educator, but I can talk about it as a potential maker. I can talk about it as a from a lifelong learning self learner perspective. Like if, for example, you don't have an engineering degree, but you do want to learn electronics, and you have covered like Arduino, and you want to just go a little bit deeper, having some of these tools would really help because you don't need to spend a lot of money to get all the different devices just to be able to learn something. So I think there are a lot of benefits in that. So I will talk about it when the time comes. So anyway, so now that I have more or less what I need to get into it, I have been, I would say, it's still work in progress, but I've been consolidating some of my new hardwares, new sensors, and I won't say old, but sensors that I've bought in the past that I've not used. So it's really time to put them to work, right? So I also have like, let's see. Oh yes. So when it comes to Steam and AI and automation and robotics, one of the things I'm very excited about is the Safiro RVR, this kit. Um, yeah, it wasn't cheap, but I see it as a really really good investment. That's for sure. So with the Safiro RVR, I intend to build a self-driving RVR. So the self-driving RVR um, will integrate with cameras, which I bought. I have the OpenMV and Pixie 2, so can use them for navigation, recognition of road signs, like turn right, turn left, speed signs, and so on. So it's a way of like simulating the real road outside, but it's just in my own home. And I would probably build some kind of like a makeshift road, you know. So that is something that I'm very excited to do, because I have both the Raspberry Pi 4B and also the Jetson Nano 4GB. I will be using both single board computers to work on this self-driving RV. Also to sort of benchmark and measure how well they do, in comparison to each other. So that is something that I'm excited to do. Another thing that I also have is, because I used to do. Okay, so when it comes to robotics engineering, robotics education, from a electronics perspective, I used to work on those four-wheel drive RC cars. It's very, very common in the makers community when you want to start learning robotics. Those are usually one of the first few things that you start with. You obviously start with the two-wheel drive, and then you have the four-wheel drive. So those are usually the beginning early days, early stages. Then you move on to the tank. You move on to the claws, and then you have your hexapods. So right now, I recently just bought two robotics kits from Adapt Electronics. One is the Reps tank. It's a tank board with claw that uses the Raspberry Pi. So I have that, and then I also have a hexa board right now. So six-legged board, kind of like a spider. Is it spider? No, six-legged. No, spiders don't have 6 legs. Spiders have 8 legs. I have to fact check that. So, but yeah, it's a hexapod, so 6 legs, 6 limbs. So I'm very excited to get into it. So right now, so the point that I want to make for this video is that now that I can finally get into it, for the first time in a really long time, I can really get into it. I'm trying to decide like what would my approach be. I would think that for some people, some content creators in this space, the maker space, they would want to just dive into it right away, start creating videos, start churning out videos and publishing them. But that is just never really my style. So being someone that focuses on the overall product experience, in-depth product experience, for someone that focuses on the learning experience of products and kits, it means spending time to learn about the hardware. It means spending time to research. It means spending time to actually tinker and go through the whole process, the whole 9 yards, from learning, research and learning, all the way to actually implementing and building a project with it. So I would think that that would be my approach moving forward. And also I've developed a clearer plan right now because I realized that I can do like a block of quarterly contents. Quarterly meaning 1/4 of each year. So I mean every quarter. So with each quarter, like sort of like, for example, I recently got all this hardware. I consolidated what I have. The next 3 months will be spent on going through all of this hardware and writing about them. And then over the next 3 months, at the end of these 3 months in June, I will then have saved up enough to get the next batch of hardware that I want to tinker with and maybe add on to what I've been working on, and go further. So then that will be July to September. And then September, I will get another purchase of hardware for the following 3 months. So that is how it's going to look like, at least from my perspective as a content creator. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into it. Again, constantly reminding myself that this is not a race. I'm not in a competition with anybody else. For me, even though I don't create as much content as frequently as others, my focus will be on the quality of the content that I actually produce. So that will be my focus. Anyway, this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm just gonna end here. If you like my video, to give me a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe below by clicking on the button. And yeah, do follow me on my website. I know that my website is new. It's still under development, and as I upload more videos and more articles and blogs, I will start to modify the design and improve on the design as I go. So I appreciate the patience. I appreciate the understanding. And obviously, if you have any feedbacks, please, go ahead and share your feedback with me. Yeah. All right. That's it. I will probably spend some time editing this video and uploading it. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.